Well, for more on this, we're joined now by Sami Al-Arian, who is a professor of public affairs and a director at the Centre for Islam and Global Affairs at Istanbul Zaim University. He joins us from Istanbul now. Thanks very much for being with us again, Sami. First of all, from what we've just seen and heard over the last 5 or 6 minutes on our screens, how would you characterise what is happening in Gaza right now, especially around these ongoing killings at aid distribution sites?
It's by far the worst killing of children throughout the world in decades. We're talking about thousands of Palestinian children that have been massacred day in and day out by the Israeli army. We're not talking about a few hundreds here or there. If you look at that report, and by the way, the report actually way underestimate the number of Palestinians who have been killed. We know for a fact, we have the names of over 55,000 Palestinians who have been killed since October 2023. And of course, that includes the whole year of 2024. Over 40% have been children under 18. That means over 20,000 children. So when they talk about 1,200, 1,300, that's way underestimates the real number. But we have the names of these children. They have been killed in Gaza, and they have been killed deliberately, not as a collateral damage, as they say, because we have witnesses, we have doctors who tell you that many of these children have been targeted because they have been sniped. The snipers would go for the head, for the heart, for the chest. We also know that the other countries that have been named in this report, like Haiti, Congo, Somalia, Nigeria, the average number there is about less than 300 per year. That's how many Palestinian children are killed per week. So when you compare what's happening in Palestine to other parts of the world, you would know that what's happening in Gaza is not just a simple but collateral damage because of war. It's a deliberate policy that the Israelis have been waging on the Palestinians, on Palestinian children now for over 21 months.
Tremendous, the toll that especially young people are having there in Gaza. But do you hold out any hope? Because Trump said yesterday that since the ceasefire between Israel and Iran, there's been great progress on doing the same for Gaza. And in his words, a deal is close. I mean, do you think that this all raises the chances of things coming to an end, even in the short term, for Gaza?
I wish that was the case. Trump is known for his exaggeration and his inflating his role in whatever is taking place around the world. What I know for a fact is that the Israelis have not changed their conditions, their policy. They are unwilling to stop this war. They are unwilling to withdraw from Gaza. They are unwilling to allow aid to go to starving Palestinians. Over 2 million people have been starved now for over 100 days. Just imagine, 100 days. They haven't been allowed. And the little aid that was trickling in the past few weeks, every time Palestinians go there, dozens are killed. Dozens are killed because they are going there to points where the Israelis said, come here, we'll give you aid, and they go there and get massacred. But what Trump is saying has no fact in reality. I know for a fact that there is nothing in writing that's given to the resistance. The resistance have not been consulted on any of these so-called progress reports. What the Israelis are demanding is they want to get their hostages back without paying any prices, without withdrawing, without committing to the ending of this war. The Americans have not been willing to pressure them in any way, shape, or form to guarantee that this war would end, that this massacre would end, that these genocides taking place in Gaza now for 21 months would end. So I'm not having much hope until either the United States pressures Israel, orders Israel, commands Israel to stop its massacre, or Israel on its own, because of its massive losses that it has been suffering from now in the past few weeks, that will probably bring them to their senses that this is a meaningless war that must come to an end.
You're talking about pressure on Netanyahu, but for the first time since the start of the war on Gaza, we saw a US president push back against him when it came to Iran. Trump told Netanyahu to turn those planes around and stop violating the ceasefire. I mean, he's clearly was very angry, very frustrated with Netanyahu. Do you think that we could now see the same attitude taken when it comes to Gaza from Donald Trump?
I think Trump is a deceitful person. We've been using these tactics now for weeks, and people should wake up and smell the coffee. This person has been saying that we are in negotiations with Iran. while he was saying these statements that Israel was about to hit Iran hard, assassinate its nuclear scientists, assassinate its military and political leaders. He knew this, and he was boasting about after it that he knew all along, and that he was part of this massive deception plan. So this thing about that him have disagreement with Netanyahu, it has been exposed as a deception, as a lie, as a fraud. So when he comes says, of course he's not interested in widening this war with Iran. That's not in his interest. It's not in his interest to close the Strait of Hormuz. It's not in his interest to have a massive problem in oil prices and so on and so forth. So he brings this notion that somehow he was pressuring Netanyahu and pressuring the government, and they returned the planes. I wouldn't take that. He's known for his lies, and he's known that he loves these kind of announcements because it makes him important.
Okay, Sami, thank you so much for your time, for your insights, as always. Sami Al-Arian there in Istanbul.
Thank you.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.